Advantage, receivers, hazard half. Juice. Advantage receivers. Okay. One game all. Hazard. 1 and 2. Better than 2. Chase. Oh, did that touch you? No, chase. Better than 2.
Come to senses.
2 chases. No strikes. No strokes. Hazard. Better than 2. Love, better than 2. Lost the chase. 30 love. Out of court, 40 love. $15.40. Chase the line. 2 chases.
Oh, did you not hit? Nothing. Okay, cool.
40-15. Receivers lead. The line. Fault. Game. 2 games to 1. Chase. It's worse than the first gallery, has it? Love.
Hello there. I am Henry Smith. Joining me in the booth today is one of the most storied characters in American tennis, Haven Powell.
Nah, that's a bit rude.
There you go.
Characters being the operative word.
Okay. 15-all.
Yes, you should be relying on Henry for your commentary on the play, because he has forgotten more about playing this game than I will ever know.
You're too kind, but this is great to have you here. Some great tennis made possible by the Westwood Club in D.C. We're all very grateful as players and athletes. We've all got to know one another this past week and made some great friendships. It's a great part of this competition. There we have Freddie nearly hitting Rory Giddins and knocking him right over.
Is there a thing between Freddie and Rory?
What kind of thing do you mean, Haven?
Well, not that kind of a thing. A sort of a rivalry or some history, maybe?
I don't think particularly, but they're certainly great rackets players as well. Both would be very competitive in a U.S. or British Am rackets, and even the Open Racket Championships. But I think Rory's very competitive, and even though the Van Alen is sealed for the U.S., they'll still be looking to beat one another.
Yeah, I heard a lot of things that I've only heard in rackets before, and hearing that brought over to the tennis side is interesting. Do you know what some of those things mean, as in load the cannon?
Well, I believe some of those phrases were coined by the Canadian racket players of Montreal. And since the North Americans have certainly adopted them, excuse me for a few technical difficulties. Thank you as always to Ryan Carey.
Ryan was doing a little adjusting for us here. So
Advantage serve.
load the cannon means get ready for to hit a very hard serve. Is that essentially what it means?
Yeah, I think it's make sure you stay aggressive on that serve and try to put some jive on the ball
2 games all.
and really move the feet and just fire up, which is another phrase which I don't know if I can really explain except for get the mind ready, the attitude.
15 love.
Because it's interesting. There's another thing that I've only seen the rackets people do before, but now it seems to be being adapted as well. And that is they get very enthusiastic and they will look at each other on a rackets court, and then they shout rackets, and then drop their rackets on the ground and sort of look at each other.
Chase,
It's like those rugby dances that you see people do, and now I'm seeing some people do the same thing with tennis.
Yeah, well, the dropping the racket, I think that's something Ben Costin particularly has been known for, being a part of so many great rallies himself. He's very quick to acknowledge his opponent's great shots, which is a wonderful attribute of his. And I don't know if I'm a huge proponent of dropping the racket and clapping, but certainly giving it a good tap on the walls.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because growing up, my father was famous for being an ultra-tough competitor, which also meant that it wasn't necessarily the best coaching that one could receive. And so when you did something wrong, if you were playing with him, he was very likely to drop his racket with great clattering on the floor. And it was, particularly if you served a double fault, he would drop his racket on the floor and glare at you. So I'm glad to see that the pattern, that the tradition has changed its stripes. It's become a positive thing rather than quite a negative thing.
Yeah, frankly, Haven, that sounds utterly brutal to partner up with that.
It was interesting.
He certainly had the strength of play to carry many of his partners through, I'd imagine.
Well, I don't know. I think you probably have a better idea of how to bring out the best in a partner than I would. But you're often playing doubles and you find that, maybe your partner is struggling a little bit, and what are the steps that you as a player can take to sort of help him through a difficult period?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it really changes from partner to partner. I think once you really get to know someone, you can get to be a lot harder on them and maybe push them through a little bit of, critique, etc. But I always default to encouragement, especially with a new partner.
Yeah. Well, and certainly you see that when you see tennis doubles being played and people are, fist bumping virtually on every point. Sometimes I wonder if that doesn't lose something, that every single point seems to be a fist bump. I've often thought that it would be better if it were saved for more key moments, but obviously the idea is you're encouraging somebody rather than snarling at them. I've never encountered anybody who was trying to play badly, so if they are, it's probably not that they mean to be.
Yeah, but sometimes you can get a partner whose head isn't really in it, and sometimes a good kick in the tail is what's needed.
It's all about judgment, and you may be the person who's there at the time to be able to decide. And I think it's a skill. I think it's a skill for a doubles player to have, and some will have more of it than others.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that is absolutely a component of doubles, is being able to bring the best out of your partner. So whether that's through your play or even just the mutual understanding of it's all good, we're out here to win, but don't get frustrated about your bad shots. We all have them.
Sure. So let's switch to something else that I thought was interesting. I was watching the finals of the U.S. Amateur Doubles.
On the chase.
That was John Moats and Noah against Bill Barker and Eric. And in both cases, the sons, Noah and Eric, are the better players in each pair. And so one of the things that I was interested in is, how do you decide, what do you think between two good players, like you have here in the Van Alen Cup? You have two good players, one of whom will generally be somewhat better than the other. How do you decide what percentage of balls you think the lesser player should hit?
It's a great question. And just to correct you, I think you were meaning the club championships at Westwood.
Was it the club championships? Yeah, I guess it was. Is that what it was? Excuse me. No, it wasn't the U.S. Amateur.
No, don't worry. Yeah, I think the up and back formation kind of takes care of a bit of that. But I've heard instances of people, saying, "Hey, go stand at the first gallery." I think in a few father-son court tennis championships, my dad told me that Morris Clothier and his father sort of played a hey, serve it and get in the first gallery and duck, and I'll take care of the rest. Morris being the player to take care of it. But I think in that instance, yeah, it's a lot of positioning where you are on the court. I think that'll usually take care of most of those instances where maybe it's a 50-50 ball and you want the stronger player taking it.
Yeah, I think the 50-50 ball, I agree with you. What I wonder about, though, is a situation where the better player is going to have to contort himself into some position, whereas the lesser player would have a more straightforward shot. And even though you might expect the better player to do more with it, the more you add contortion and being in an odd place and having to hit around your partner and so forth, the less the result is going to be. And how do you make the judgment of when is it better for the second best player on a team to hit the ball rather than the first best player hitting some distorted shot?
Right. I think a great example of this for me personally, since I didn't witness the Westwood match, was playing against Noah Moats and Ryan Carey in the Whitney Cup, which unfortunately I did lose with a very strong partner in John Kroll. But what Noah told Ryan was to stay aggressive. And so there were some forehand volleys that Ryan hit that were absolute missiles at me or at John. And it was really difficult to deal with because here's a guy coming out of the woodwork and just firing shots that are taken very early and really taking us off guard. So I think that Noah had a great understanding of how to share the workload a little bit there, and it worked out for him. So I think sometimes you do just have to keep your partner in it and make sure that I think a lot of times when you do have a real mismatch, so you have one really good guy and one weaker player, that weaker player will make the difference in the match, I think, at times.
I heard Camden saying that the other day. I asked him, I was involved in a conversation in which it was the same topic, and he said that the weaker player in a doubles pair would be the determinant.
That's a wonderful question from Ryan Carey, who asked, does he consider himself the weaker player, Camden being, and or does he consider Tim? I don't know the answer. I think it would be a wonderful question for Camden Revere.
It'll be a wonderful question for me not to ask.
I would like to know the answer, and I just might ask.
Yeah, I'd like to know the answer, and I'd like to have somebody else ask it.
Well, I think that's an example of just situational awareness, really, because I do think Tim Chisholm does things on the tennis court that no one else can, and not even Camden. And he would admit that. I think some of Tim's volleys that he takes super early are out of this world. But then Camden knows how to scramble around the court probably better than anyone else. So, yeah, just sort of helping your partner play to his strengths.
It's another thing that I'm just noticing here on this screen, because obviously I'm watching this event live at Westwood, and I haven't been watching the streaming. But it seems as if almost every time there's an event that Ryan streams, something gets added to the mix. And today, what I'm noticing is in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, he has the Wimbledon final scoreline on there, which just strikes me as so imaginative. I've, now spent pretty much 25 years of seeing Ryan in action, and the level of imagination is obviously the level of technical skill that he's brought to the streaming, but the level of imagination is something that is really unique. Just seeing the score lines for Wimbledon added to it is such a thoughtful addition.
Indeed, few people have made a larger contribution to the game on a tournament-to-tournament basis than Ryan, so we're all very appreciative. Ryan threatening to cut our mics with all the compliments. He's a very humble man.
Ryan, how many cameras do we have today? Or how many are left?
Down, thank you.
How many did you begin with, and how many do you have now?
40, 15.
8 operational cameras. And what's the most you've had in this?
Folks!
Maybe 12 cameras. Really, it's hard to think of anything that has improved more in the last reasonable number of years than the whole streaming operation, and that goes on both, really all over the world for all these events. Oh God, the gong in the winning gallery came from an early, the first cherry blossom, and it was so well received. And frankly, when we moved from the old court to the new court, we discovered that there were really rather a lot of gongs, and like about 7, and so with no authority whatever, I gave one of them to Chris Ronaldson, and so one of your gongs, Ryan, is at Radley, and they like it there too.
Receivers lead, the second gallery.
Oh my! He has just got it in the last gallery, I believe, to win the chase in the set. So here we are, 1 set to love for the UK. Americans have already clinched the win, so perhaps there's a bit of a drop in intensity, but well done for that's just an extraordinary shot from that angle. It was actually a pretty good railroad, hardly any bounce. But yeah, Haven, have you noticed any patterns in play this far? If not in this match, perhaps over the course of this doubles day?
Henry, I think it's a better question for me to ask you. I think you would know. I think you would know a great deal more than me. It's interesting whether the coaching has been helpful or whether there have been some tips that have been passed along. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having the world champion in our corner is a massive advantage, and there have been tips. I think right now, I mean, the narrative is definitely going to be to stay on the serving end. Take a gallery chase whenever you can, really.
Oh, okay. So don't step on it.
Oh dear. So I believe that was a double fault to begin this second set. Yeah, that's really good from Eric there. So what Camden has told Eric in that last gallery is to stand further back on the return of serve. There's really no use being so far up the court. He's really playing himself out of position, and there's just no principal advantage of being there. So he's really trying to stay back so that he can come into play on that first ball, especially when you're across the net from a guy like Will Flynn, who's going to bring some serious pace. If you're at second gallery or anywhere further up, you're just playing yourself right out of the point and potentially looking for a serious injury. Will absolutely hammered one right into Freddie's leg earlier today, so it's certainly possible. Yep. Yeah, Brian's asking if Freddie's been affected by that hit. I really don't think so. Freddie's a pretty tough cookie, and if he is feeling the effects, he's definitely not going to give any body language to indicate so. And that's a very good volley there from Rory Giddins. Unfortunately, one game to love to the UK. Yeah, and there Freddie really just finding that hole in the formation of Rory and Will. That's a great spot to find.
So I'm glancing around the control room. This is one of the most unglamorous rooms I've ever seen. We should have thought more about this when we were designing the court, that we needed a better control room. But it's basically a storage room, and it has lots of racks of computer stuff and so forth. And
oh dear.
So, but I was looking at Ryan's master screen, and he had a something that was theoretically seemed to be keeping track of the number of shots hit into the grill, number of shots hit into the dead-on, number of shots hit into the winning gallery. And I'm curious as to whether that is happening automatically. In other words, there is some sort of a counter that is keeping track of that, and you don't have to do that manually? Is that how that works, Ryan? I'm going to hand the microphone over to you.
30-15.
Yes, Robert Frost, who developed the scoring app, Chase One, has incorporated that into the app. So as long as the marker is, there's a button for if he hits a dead on, he has to hit dead on. So it's not like the most robust stats, but winning shots, serving, missing one, but yeah, it does it automatically. I'm busy enough.
Ryan holding the microphone rather reluctantly there, but always good knowledge.
So that's, it turns out that that's the scoring app, and that the person marking the match will indicate when a ball went into the grill or the dead-on or the winning gallery, and it will keep track of that, and every now and again Ryan will flash it up on the screen, and you can see how it went, how it's going in a particular match. Then you could presumably add them all up for the entire event. That you'd probably have to do manually.
All right, so here we are at deuce, and the Americans really need this one. It'd be tough ass to go down 2-love in the second set. Rory Giddins, great return there. He's playing purely for pride, and he really doesn't mind. Not able to convert though, so all right, Americans, let's use it. That was awfully casual from Rory, sort of just sliding it right across the court on the volley. Good shot.
Chase, second gallery. Vantage, servers, the second gallery.
There was a lively discussion going on upstairs about Djokovic v. Alcaraz, of who liked whom, and there were sharp exchanges of views.
Second gallery.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see Alcaraz, Hagen. How about you?
Totally. I was a very much a Federer person because I just thought he was such a classy player, and everything he did was the sorts of things that I would favor as a sort of a traditionalist about how to play a game, whereas I felt Djokovic was not so much in that vein. On the other hand, that was very popular with other people.
Vantage servers.
Yeah, Djokovic sort of entering into a pretty tough era and has done unbelievably, and I don't think many fans were happy to see him sort of knock out Federer and Nadal from a few tournaments, and I think a lot of people had already taken sides over those two. So then you have the third guy coming in about 6 years later or so. I think it's very interesting and maybe unseen event in sports where three of the truly greatest players of all time have played in the same era.
Imagine how any one of them would have done had it not been for the other two.
Yeah, I wonder if the trio sort of saved tennis from the other two in a sense.
Would one of them have won 40 Grand Slams had there not been the other two? I mean, between the three of them, or among the three of them, you're probably over 60 Grand Slams. And would one of them have won, say, 40 or 45 or even 50 had the others not been there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know the answer. I think maybe Federer would have done a bit better. I think Nadal had a few more injuries, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see who played who in the finals and kind of backtrack on that.
Take two.
Who played whom, perhaps.
Yeah.
Vote.
So in this event that we're watching now, we basically have four people that are more or less Alcaraz age, in their early 20s, entire careers ahead of them, already playing at this level. It's really a testimony to sort of how well the countries are doing in terms of their younger players and bringing them along, getting them ready to play in the Bathurst Cup, and getting them started in their tennis careers.
Yeah, I think this is truly one of the strongest Van Alen Cups in many, many years.
Indeed. I think back, Henry, to your Uncle Temple, who some number of years ago went to the authorities in court tennis and said, what would you be able to do with the juniors if we provided significant level of ongoing support, and it was quite significant. And I think we're really now seeing exactly how that came to fruition. This is I think probably pretty much as good as any American team has been, don't you?
Yeah, I think I probably right. I'd been talking to Morris about that on Wednesday. I think on his team there were probably everyone in the teens. My father being about a 30, soft 30, we'll say, and Jeff Kennedy, tremendous squash player. Frank Baltzell, who I believe was a pretty good player at the time, and then Morris was probably somewhere around 10. So, yeah, today we have two guys in the single digits, and then other two guys in the low teens. So, I'd imagine it's probably one of the stronger teams.
Yeah. Well, and I suspect that it wouldn't have been easier if Temple and Ellie hadn't been so supportive of the junior development program. And of course, this is a game that people try to compete and they try to win. And so when one country sees another country making a big effort, they redouble their own effort. And so the competitive forces are very useful in really lifting all boats.
I think that's a wonderful point, Haven. I wonder what the TNRA is going to fix up after this competition. Hopefully they, if they haven't already, hopefully they're thinking about putting a lot of support into the junior program there.
Well, and of course, it's been, it's not as if any of the three countries have, by any standard, a team that is subpar by normal standards. All the teams are good, and it's you keep doing the same things. There's a certain amount of the luck of the draw. Obviously, there are a fair number of players who come from a background where their father or whatever or mother has played, and that's how they get into it. And so there's a certain amount of the luck of the draw with that, but just keeping them going, recruiting them so that they're interested in this as opposed to something else, because everybody who is playing at this level could be playing any number of other games. And how did you choose it? How did you think about it?
I think it was a tough stroke call from there, but I had a racket sports background, and at one point I just realized I was having a great deal of fun playing rackets and court tennis, so I just thought I'd give it a go and keep playing. And especially with opportunities to travel and be a part of such great teams and really unique communities, I think the sort of relationships you build and just the love of the game kind of carries you through. Yeah, neither UK player seemed to think they touched that ball, but reliable marker in the dead on, so trust his judgment.
Advantage servers, the last gallery.
Oh dear, he's just put that in the net, had the whole hazard gallery section to work with. Another deuce. But yeah, Haven, certainly Temple and Ellie's contributions to the game and to the junior game especially should be mentioned, and it was really luck of the draw to have Temple as an uncle and encourage me to play. Unfortunately, I think I played most of my real tennis after his passing, but I have faith that he's up there watching this Van Alen Cup. Very proud of these guys for their performance yesterday and to keep playing today.
Well, it was certainly something that he cared about. I think he cared about that and the continuation of tennis in Washington. And Lord knows both of them are sure going well.
Critical game there from the Americans. Really happy to see them pull that one out. And then looking at this Wimbledon score, it seems pretty tight. So there's a bit of a temptation to meander upstairs and exit the booth, but I think we might give it another game. I certainly don't want to leave Haven on his own, but I think we'll have that discussion momentarily.
Well, the nicest thing for our audience would be probably for both of us to leave. It's really interesting. You can sit and talk as you would in the gallery watching a game, but just suddenly to be a commentator, when do you shut up? When do you talk? Probably not during the point. There's a lot to learn. It's harder than it looks.
Yeah, I think that's an ongoing discussion as to whether or not to discuss things during the point. I think that the traditionalists would say let the rallies be played and then have your word afterwards. But I think at this level, it's actually quite fun to give input throughout the rallies, whereas perhaps at a world championship, we might just let the tennis speak for itself.
Well, there are two different approaches. In England, the announcers, as I understand it, don't tell you something that you can see, whereas the Americans, for example, if you're seeing a hockey game, they'll tell you that, one player passed to another player, which you could perfectly well see.
Right.
The British announcers are more likely to allow silence, and you're just watching and you're on your own. And we're obviously at an extreme of basically talking about whatever we'd be talking about if we were just sitting here and interrupting everybody else watching the match.
Yeah, that's a funny point. I think the Americans, we like the crescendo of action, especially in those hockey games and some other sports, whereas we're almost a bit like it's a radio program at times.
2-1, 40-15, chase the second.
But having said that, I think I definitely took some notes from Robert Shankman, having heard him commentate on the World Championship this last year. I thought he did a wonderful job, and I do think he might have broken some of those norms of the British to sort of keep quiet during play. I think he provided a really colorful experience. So I like it, but to each their own. Critical game there for the Americans. Well done to equalize it 2-2.
Well, what do you think? Should we take early retirement and give people a break? There'll be huge crescendos of applause from the audience as we exit the booth.
I
Brian,
think we might.
Thank you very much for what you've been doing. And Henry. Okay.
Yeah, maybe a third set return. Hopefully, given the Americans' effort in this second set. But for me, that is over and out.
Do you play the next match?
I do play after this.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Out of court. 30-15. Chase. 3 and 4. 2 chases.
Great shot.
$30-15. Receivers has worse than second gallery. $40-15. 3 and 4. Yep. 40-15. 30-40. The line. Service lead, the line. 40-30, service lead, chase the line. Bolts. On the chase. Juice. Juice. Chase, that in the second gallery. Oh, strike, thank you. Advance receiver. Okay. 3 games to 2. Has it worse than the yard. Hazard. Worse than 1 twice. 2 chases. Okay. No strokes. Hazard. Worse than 1. Fault. chase. 15 love. Hazard worse than 1. Full. Love. Full. Full. 40 love. Fifteen 40. Thirty 40. Touch you. Game. 3 games all. Love. Fifteen all. Ready? 30-15. Hazard. Hazard half. Sadio. Chase, worse than second gallery, 2 chases. Okay. Sadio, half the yard. Hazard. Hazard half. Hazard half. Yeah, Sadio. $40-30. Worse than second gallery. Ball up, please, guys. Worse than second. Juice. Advantage servers. Juice. Stroke. Advantage to the receivers. Fault. Second gallery. Okay, advantage. Servers, the second gallery. Game. 4 games to 3. Level. America. Oh yeah. 15 love. $15 all. Last gallery. 30-15. All. 30 all, 2 chases.
Ready, mate.
Last gallery. Last gallery. 30 all. .40-30. Hazard. Half a yard. Games. 4 games all. Love. Fault. Love. Fifteen 30. Sorry. Faults. .40-15. Five games to 4. Out of court. 15 love. Chase, a yard worse than the last gallery.
Great placement.
$15 all. 30-15. Full. $40-15, a yard worse than the last gallery. $40-15, receivers, yard worse than the last gallery. Out of court. 30-40. How's it better than half? 40-30. Okay, 40-30, servers lead. How's it better than half a yard? $40-30, servers has it better than half. Lost the chase. Let's go! Let's go! Juice. Advantage servers. Second set, 6 games to 4.
Guys, I need to use the bathroom quickly. 2 seconds. Yep. Huh? Sorry. Okay, right.
Right, okay. Final set, Lovell.
Come on, GB.
Let's go.
All. $30-15. 30 all. Forty 30. Game. Game to love. $15 love. $15 all. Fault. $30-15.
Shot, mate.
30 all. $40-30. Stroke. With your foot. That's down. Okay, thank you. 2 and 3. Better than 3. Okay, 40-30. Receivers lead. Better than 3. Sorry, thank you. Better than 2. Oh. Lost the chase. Juice. Oh. Advantage servers. Game. 1 game all. $15 love. 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 $15.40. Come on. Game. 2 games to 1. 2, 1. Love. Love. How's it better than half? 30 love. Out of court. 40 love. How's it better than half?
30, mate.
Reset.
Okay. 40 love. Receivers lead. How's it better than half? Game. 3 games to 1.
Yes, come on.
Good, ready?
Stroke. 15 love. 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 $15.40. Second gallery, 40-15. Okay, 40-15, servers, the second gallery. 30-40. Game. 4 games to 1. Level. Love. 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 Okay. 5 games to 1. Chase, better than 2.
Yes, ready.
Love. Study love. Chase. 2 and 3. 2 chases.
Come on now, boys.
Tough 2 and 3. That's
5 more.
Study love. Receive service lead. Chase better than 2. Love, 2 and 3. $15.40. $30.40. Fault. Juice. Advantage servers. Fault. Hazard. Hazard worse than 1. Advantage to the receivers. Yes, please. Okay, advanced receivers, hazard, worse than 1. Game. 2 games to 5. Come on, 5. Full. Hazard. Worse than second. Full. Love. Come on, boys. Love. Come on now. Full. Fully love. Hazard worse than second. Love, receivers, hazard worse than second gallery. $15.40. $30.40. Full. Juice. Advantage servers. 15 love. Thirty love. Full. Chase, better than 2. Second gallery, 2 chases. Okay, 30 love. Receive, servants, better than second gallery. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, better than 2. Love, the second gallery. Come on, boy. 15-40. Game. Set and the match. 6-2, 4-6, 6-3, okay.
Thank you.